This stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
Wish your Wi-Fi network would just work in any room? Our new Stellar Wi-Fi is AI assisted to give you the smoothest, fastest possible Wi-Fi throughout your home. Stellar Wi-Fi, assisted by AI, exclusive to Melita. Find out more in-store or online.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
My apologies there. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. Welcome again to World Pro Racing. A bit of a false start from me there, unfortunately, but these things do happen, the wonders of modern technology. Welcome along to the Nightmaster casual race at Spa-Francorchamps, the fantastic 4.352 mile, 7.004 kilometer circuit, which has hosted the actual 24 hours of Spa-Francorchamps since the early 1920s is the venue for tonight's festivities. It's a 15-minute qualifying session, a 15-minute after a 15-minute practice session, and then we have a 40-minute sprint race here at this fantastic circuit. It's currently one of the circuits that hosts a round of the SRO Group's International GT Challenge and has done so since 2016. It's also the current host of the Total 24 Hours of Spa-Francorchamps, which has seen multiple different GT teams go for absolute glory with GT3 machinery. But we've got quite a lot of drivers here. So firstly, a big thank you to all those joining us from TVM Sport, Motorsport.tv and Esports Television, and also for those watching on the relevant Facebook Live, YouTube and Twitch streams here on World Pro Racing. This could not be possible without the support of our partners and sponsors, Gaming Malta, Melita, who are powering this stream, Thrustmaster, GT Omega, HyperX and AMD. So hopefully very shortly we'll be able to give you an idea of exactly what the Nightmaster race is all about trackside here on World Pro Racing. And as you can see, we are in the deep of night here at Spa-Francorchamps. Now, good to see a few familiar names from the karting world, including this driver here, the number 74 of Theo Makouris, who last year represented Great Britain in the FIA Academy Trophy, finishing as vice champion. He's currently in the number 74 Aston Martin V8's Vantage. You've still got some very familiar names, the likes of Calvin Heutzel, Nathan Thomas, Samir Foch, Jan-Niklas Ebrich, a multi-time GT3 casual race winner from last season, Luca Ziga, Ben Norton. Then you've got Renoir in the 732 Lamborghini, that's Ryan Renoir. Oscar Saristo, Gergely Kunsabo, Tanel Kasisalu. The names go on and on here tonight. So you can just see that Makouris is the quickest one out there on a 2-minute 17.385. Alex Johnston rounds out the top two ahead of Nathan Thomas. The top three covered by just over half a second, as at the moment going through Cours Paul Frère is Makouris. Going through Blanchimont before the run down to the bus stop chicane. And at the moment, the top eight, which is completed by David Ohak, is rounded out as the sparks fly from Alex Johnston's number 248 Omega E Racing Aston Martin, as he pushes his way through Les Combes, down Malmedy and into Bruxelles. We now go on board the Aston Martin V8 Vantage GT3. So you now go into the left-hander, which then brings you into originally what was known as Double Gauche, but is now commonly known as Pouron. As he's now going up the gears, up to fifth gear, braking from about 225 kilometres an hour down to around 170 kilometres an hour through the first apex, and then through the second he actually lets the car run wide. So it looks like the number 70 Mercedes is currently in second position. I can't really, unfortunately, the Russian alphabet to me is quite alien, so that's the first time I've seen that in my commentary career, to be completely honest with you. But Tom Otti now up into ninth position in the McLaren, the number 15, running on exactly the same time as the trusted Lexus that Jan-Niklas Ebrich normally races with. Samir Foch now rounds out the top 7 It's between Mercouris, the second place Mercedes. I think I'm just going to get some confirmation from from our broadcast team. Also, just to let you know that Justin Mifsud is on broadcast direction duty. Nathan Mifsud back on cameras. We also do have our race steward, George Muscat, and our FIA accredited race director, that is Mr. Adrian Figallo. For those that might have seen the previous race that myself and Nico Hilbrand were commentating on, we gave you a bit more of an in-depth running behind the scenes. So hopefully the number 70 will be at some point, as Luca Ziga just pulled up along the start-finish line. Now, obviously, with the GT side of things here at Spa-Francorchamps, it will be from the other pit straight, not the normal pit straight that we associate with Formula One. So they will come through La Source before we go green for racing. There's Ryan Renoir in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. Just a little bit of an update about this week's schedule and some rather exciting times, of course. So the World Pro Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Sprint Series heads to this very circuit for the final round of Season 2. So a €500 prize fund for the top 3 in the Pro category is up for grabs, and we will find out who will take home the €250 prize for being top dog in Season 2. Now, of course, big news from Assetto Corsa Competizione, the British GT DLC pack literally becomes available as of tomorrow. So in light of that, this coming Saturday, the 13th of February 2021, at 8:30 p.m. Central European time, we will have our first 90-minute race at one of the 3 tracks here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Donington Park will be hosting a casual race. There are over 30 spots still available. Now, obviously, the pack drops through the regular channels through Steam, and obviously that will hit consoles later on this year, and that will be available for people to download ahead of Saturday's race. And then on Tuesday the 16th, that is a week from today, the Rainmaster at Barcelona casual race will be in full effect at the Circuit de Catalunya Barcelona. Nico Hilbrand will be on commentary duty for that. You can also join Jake Sperry and Kieran McGinley this coming Friday for the finale of Season 2 for the World Pro Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione season. So there's Felix Zeff in the 2Cs Motorsport McLaren 720S. 2Cs Motorsport, one of the many teams that have decided to join the new GT3 era of DTM, which starts this year in early June. And there's Kalajuma in the number 17 Ferrari 488 GT3, currently rounding out the top 4 at the moment, ahead of Nathan Thomas. And it is still pretty much the case that the top 6 have very much remained unchanged. So Mercouris leading the way by over 0.3 of a second. Then it's the number 70 Mercedes, the 248 of Omega E-Racing's Alex Johnston. Then it's Juma, then it's Thomas, Heitzel in 6th, Foch in 7th, Ebrich in 8th, Otti, Renoir, Ohak, Hon, Ziga, Patel, Norton rounding out the top 15 positions, and they are covered by just under 2.4 seconds as we have another 6 minutes left to go in this practice session. As Khalid Juma now, well, that was very close to trying to either go into the pit lane or make his way through the wider part of the bus stop chicane, as one of the cars in front of Semyon Foch in the Feral Kid Racing number 8 Ferrari. That looks to be one of the Aston Martins just up ahead. The Aston Martin spitting sparks from its rear diffuser. As they're now going into the right-hander, which is Campus, before the right-hander that is Stavlo, and then it's on the power, up the gears, a little bit of a run wide there to the left-hand side for Semyon Foch in the number 8 Ferrari. Up to 5th gear now into Blanchimont, 6th gear, over 250 kilometers an hour. Little lift off the throttle there to around 247 on the speedometer, and now the run down into the bus stop chicane, down from 6th into first gear as the Aston Martin ahead decides to go a little bit off track, going through the bus stop chicane. So Samuel Foch now comes across the line. That time was a 5-minute 48.4, so an outlap here. Outlaps here at Spa, very, very slow indeed. But obviously the 15-minute qualification session a little bit later on. Then we have got the number 72. That is Camille de Bastiani from the Equipe Malzan from France, and the number 72 Honda NSX GT3. Running at the top 19, 3.18 seconds off of the pace, which Theo Makuris is still currently setting. And one of the biggest things here with regards to the track limits aspect, that's what we've got to look at here as Alex Johnson scythes his way up the inside of one particular Aston Martin. I think that was going through into Campus and then into the approach into the right-hander at Campus. Yellow flags out briefly on the circuit, so Makuris is ahead of Johnston by just over 5.5 tenths. And then Pedro Gomez, who was hoping that there was going to be no rain. Well, I've been reliably informed that the weather will not be wet. However, you can see on the weather readings on the top right-hand corner of your screen, low wind cover, around about 2 kilometers an hour, track temperature at 19 degrees, air temperature at 19 degrees, optimum running for these drivers. And for the next just under 3.25 minutes to go, there are no clouds in the sky, stars twinkling up above. Sheldon Muscat, one of the regulars here, GT Omega RPM Esports, sticking with the trusty Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo. Now he's going through into the left-hander before the double left of Pouin, letting the car drift to the right-hand side as much as possible without exceeding track limits. He's currently 8th at the moment as he now flies his way into Pouin. Nice little run wide to the right-hand side there. Lets the car drift out, coming out of the second left-hander at Pouin. Before into the next right-hander, which is effectively going through Campus into the left, which then takes him into the double right here, and he'll exit out coming through Stavelot. So down to second, double waved yellows, showing on the indicator just above the Race Logic timer. On the right-hand side of the steering wheel of Sheldon Scott Muscat, and there is a car on the left-hand side. So now he gets the green flag. Going through into Blanchimont. He did not even lift. Sheldon Scott Muscat has got some guts right there, going through Blanchimont, well and truly over 255 kilometers per hour. And will Sheldon Muscat improve? He goes P4, just under half a second off of Theo Makuris, as we've got just over a minute and a half of this session still to go. So Muscat has pulled it into the pits. Ebrich has got his way in the 2.99 Lexus up to third place. Makuris has put in the best time of this practice session so far and feels that he's going to wait until qualification with 2 minutes 17.166 from the number 74. Alex Johnson now making his way through the bus stop chicane. Now, will he improve on this particular lap? We'll find out very shortly as he comes across the line. Stays P5 because that particular effort was not as it was a couple of tenths off his best effort so far. We now ride on board with the Ferrari of Samuel Foch in the number 8. He's now coming through Paul Frère, now into Blanchimont. Let's see if he's as brave as Sheldon Muscat, building the speed up to 6th gear. That time he didn't lift, 257 kilometers an hour through Blanchimont, down into the bus stop chicane, late on the brakes, down to 1st gear, all the way down the gearbox, into the right, now into the left. He's got 20 seconds as he just hit the apex of that corner, coming through the second part, and he goes P3 on a 2 minute 17.544. Checkered flag out for qualifying there, and Theo Makuris with an absolutely brilliant time of a 2 minutes 17.166. And so just found out that the name is Kurt Yakovleva. So once we go into qualifying, the number 70's name will show the sort of like the normal alphabet that I would be accustomed to. Alex Johnston's still out on track at the moment, going through into in towards campus and then into Stavlo. He's still, so the drivers have just under 2 minutes remaining. Heutzel in 9th in the session, and I think Johnston's called it a day there. So to start things off, Theo Makuris on his debut here in World Pro Racing gets to the top of the timesheets by just over 0.3 of a second. Jakob Lever in second position ahead of Alex Johnston. You're going to see quite a lot of the... well, it wasn't Alex Johnston. It was actually, I think, if memory serves me correctly, Jan-Niklas Ebrich. So the qualifying session here at World Pro Racing for the Night Master race at Spa-Francorchamps is going to be rather interesting. The drivers are going to have to watch themselves on track limits because otherwise their laps will be invalidated. And realistically, those people thinking, well, I might be able to get an opportunity to get in a really good lap. If you get the lap in early, you might have an opportunity of pushing forward and getting your opportunity to be at the sharp end of the grid. And from my perspective, if you can really, really do the level best that you can, we know for a fact in World Pro Racing, we've seen it before. I've seen it before in other communities that I've commentated on ACC sprint races. Nothing's done until the checkered flag has fallen and you see who comes up trumps. And realistically, with a 15-minute qualifying session in the deep of night, the drivers are going to have to get those tyres up to temperature, get the wheels up to temperature, help the brakes gain some temperature as well, because you don't want to go into La Source Rouge with, you know, the lack of confidence in the car. If the tyres aren't hot enough, the pressures won't go to the relevant setting that you've designated on that setup. So it is about working the tyres, making sure the engine's all sort of going up to song, and in all realisticness, reality here at World Pro Racing, the 15-minute qualifying session, which we're now about to get underway with, 2 a.m. in the morning, and Theo Makuris looks to be one of the first few drivers to get out there early and look to set a banker lap. So the number 47 working its way down the pit lane. When he gets off the pit limiter, he'll now be able to boot the throttle. And that's going up into Radillon. So you'll now see that he'll go to the left-hand side onto the Kemmel Straight. You can see these weaving slightly from side to side at nearly 250 kilometers an hour. But he's just trying to gain some momentum. So let's stay on board with Theo Makuris for the moment into Lecom. So let's give you an idea of the actual circuit around here. Into the right at Malmedy. And we've got a full grid tonight, 40 drivers. That is effectively well over 20,000 horsepower tonight. So big thank you to Nathan on camera duty, who's just informed me. Now down into the left-hander after Bruxelles. You can now see that Theo Makur is starting to build up the speed here on the Aston Martin. Into the double left at Pouin, or double gauche, whichever you prefer. Good to see some of the people on the chat getting involved. Good evening to Think Blue on YouTube. I definitely know who Think Blue is cheering on. Jan-Niklas Ebrich in the 299. And I think a lot of people, obviously, Luke Whitehead spoke to me earlier on Instagram, and he said, unfortunately, he's had a pedal issue, so he's had to withdraw. But we've still got a 40-strong capacity grid here on World Pro Racing. Head to worldproracing.com to find out about future events, and also if you want to become part of the team, we are looking for people actively in terms of many different facets of World Pro Racing. We also host R Factor 2 races, we also race with GT Sports, and also, of course, the platform we're on at the moment, Assetto Corsa Competizione. So now Theo Makuris will start his way on a hot lap. 4.362 miles, 7.004 kilometres. Now, a little bit of history about Spa-Francorchamps. It was designed back in 1920 by the pair of Jules de Thiers and Henri Langlois Van Offen. The funny thing was, in 1921, the first ever race never took place, but the first car race here at Spa-Francorchamps, which was calculated on average speed rather than pure lap time, was 1922. And then the Spa-Francorchamps 24 hours started in 1924, which means in what was it, about 3 years' time, we'll be celebrating the centenary. This circuit, in its current variation, it's the 5th variation since 1979, which is pretty much 42 years ago. It's been in use since 2007. The current overall fastest lap of all time on this variation is by Mercedes-AMG Petronas Motorsports' very own Flying Finn, Valtteri Bottas, who has had Lewis Hamilton confirm as his teammate, of course, the 7-time Formula 1 world champion, back at Mercedes for 2021. This circuit has also hosted the 6 Hours of Spa for the FIA World Endurance Championship, the Blancpain Endurance Series before it changed to the GT Challenge, and also the Belgian Grand Prix, amongst others. And it also hosted the Spa Classics. It's an FIA Grade 1 listed track. It also has a total capacity of 70,000 people, and hopefully when things get back to normal amidst the current pandemic, we will see people sitting side by side in the grandstands off of the main straightaway, cheering their favourites on as they rush their way through Eau Rouge and Radillon, amongst other places here, and obviously the big sea of orange that we normally see around at the Kemmel Straight, especially if Max Verstappen is racing there too. So yellow flag was briefly out there. Got just over 10 minutes of the session to go as Mercouris flies his way through Blanchimont and up the run to the bus stop chicane. So into the right, into the left, and we'll get the first banker lap. Theo Mercouris was quickest in free practice. Let's see what he puts down as a marker down for qualifying. 2 minutes 17.835. Not a bad showing from the Brit. There's Nathan Thomas in the Omega E Racing team, Aston Martin as well. And then we've had the 777 of Holm in the Ferrari take second place, followed by Camille De Bastiani. Some drivers not have come out yet. Khaled Juma and also Jamsran, both in a pair of Ferraris. And Kurt Yakovleva yet to exit, well, yet to show a banker lap time as we ride on board with Nat Thomas in the number 7. He's closing up to Alexis in front. Don't tell me that was not Jan-Niklas Ebrich, because that driver just had a moment. New Nomex, please, coming out of Blanchimont. But Nat Thomas now coming out of the bus stop chicane. Let's see if he gets any closer to Mercouris. Shows a 2 minute 18.693 there from the number 25. Drivers still looking to do their level best. As there is Ryan Renoir in the 732 Lamborghini Huracan. A few other drivers here as well. Herkut in the 710 Lamborghini is in 14th, but Ryan Renoir in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo goes up into 4th position, 0.8, and that's Jimmy Holm in the number 5. The Holming, that's fantastic, that team name, I must honestly admit. Holming Missile, the 777 Ferrari, the leading Ferrari in qualifying with just over half the session still to go. Just 48 thousandths off of Ryan Renoir. And we've got Luca Ziga in the number 5 Ferrari, rounds out the top 6 ahead of Camille De Bastiani, and then Gergely Kunsabo, David Ohak, and then we've also got Denis Suarez in the number 78 Audi. As Adriano Mateos goes Go Ebrich, and Jan-Niklas Ebrich in his trusted Lexus RCF GT3, naturally aspirated 5.4 litre V8. Just over 9/10 of a second behind Mercouris, because Mercouris has actually gone quicker by around about half a second since his first effort. as Jimmy Holm goes P3 on a and Makuris has just been pipped by Germany's Calvin Heitzel in the number 100 Aston Martin by 51 thousandths of a second. Gergely Kunsabo crosses the line, stays P12. The Hungarian has gone to the Bentley Continental GT3. Hugo Henriques from Portugal in the number 45 Bentley, currently rounding out the top 18, now fires his way through Blanchimont towards the bus stop chicane. Gergely Kunsabo has been dropped to 13th now in the meantime. But Henriques now comes out of the bus stop chicane, heads towards the line. And on that particular occasion, well, doesn't improve, but drops a position. Puts in a 2-minute 20.9. Pedro Gomes from Brazil in the number 2 VMR Rookie Monsters. And go on board with him for a brief moment as the yellow flags are briefly out with just over 6 minutes still remaining in the session. So at the moment, 23 of the drivers have set 24 drivers, with Christopher Lagertson in the 911 Porsche down in 24th place. And the thing is that some drivers are probably I wouldn't say they're chancing their luck with not qualifying. They could be making a very strategic tactical move. And the reason why I say this is the biggest factor is that going into Eau Rouge and Radion, as Calvin Heitzel has a massive off-track moment there coming out of Stavelot in the 100. Good time racing. Aston Martin Vantage V8 GT3. Theo Makuris goes and he pips Heitzel by just under, well, 1/1000th shy of a tenth of a second. As Theo Makuris, David Ohak in the number 13 Ferrari now making his way through Blanchimont. And now goes into the braking zone, down from 6 all the way down the gearbox into first gear through the bus stop chicane into the right, then into the left. Neat apexes from the Ferrari as he now powers his way towards the start-finish line here at Spa-Francorchamps. Stays and goes P10. Sheldon Muscat now going through into Bruxelles. Then into the left-hander before the double left at Pouhon. Muscat's got some time to find. He's got to find over 1.1 seconds, but that's not going to help if you're going to run wide like that coming out of the left-hander. Just after Bruxelles into the double left at Pouhon. Or the double gauche at Pouhon. Double gauche is French for double left. But Muscat now making his way down into Campus and then into, well, he's making his, so we got Kurt Yakovleva and the Clark Racing Mercedes, the number 70, currently running at the top 6 at the moment, 9.6 tenths of a second off of Theo Makuris, but is 24 thousandths quicker than Denis Suarez in the number 78 Audi. And Nathan Mifsud definitely getting hot, getting heated on the chat, saying, "Where's the Gergely fans? Where's the Gergely Kunsabo fans? We got 2 for Jan-Niklas Ebrich, and we need more for Gergely Kunsabo." Well, that's down to you people watching at home. So, with 3 minutes and 24 seconds left on the clock, let's have a look at the top 23 in qualifying and see how they're faring thus far. So, Makuris still leading with a 2 minutes 17.220, slightly off of his pace in free practice, but Calvin Heitzel in the 100 in second place. Nat Thomas in the number 7 Aston Martin. So it's an Aston Martin 1, 2, 3. Funnily enough, all 3 cars are powered by Mercedes V8s. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud. But then Kurt Yakovleva goes provisional pole position in that Mercedes by just under 4.5 tenths of a second with 2 minutes and 50 on the clock left to go. Yakovleva using that straight line grunt of that Mercedes. And Carly Atkins, good to hear from you as well. He's cheering on Theo Makuris. And Dr. V cheering on for Jan-Niklas Ebrich. Makuris now heads his way down. He's up to full speed going through Eau Rouge and then up towards the crest of the hill through Radion in the Aston Martin as someone else exits the pit lane. going to have to do a very, very quick outlap if they want to get another lap in. So now we go on board with Theo Makuris, over 60 kilometres an hour. That might have been on Calvin Heutzel. Yes, that's Heutzel that's just come out of the pits. So Heutzel will be chancing his luck to get a final lap in as Makuris now goes through into the right at Malmedy. Down the dip in towards the right-hand hairpin. It literally goes back on itself through into Bruxelles. Down the gears into second gear. Tries to let the car turn in, rotate. Puts on the power, goes into the left-hander. Some drivers such as Ohak, Ziga, Gomez and Rizzo have now decided to call it time in qualifying. Up the gears for Makuris. Down to fourth through the first part of Bouan. Then letting the car rotate. Let it drift in. Mac ID saying, Ebrich, you've got this. Well, Ebrich currently is in P6 in qualifying. It's one thing to get a good lap time on the board, but it's always dependent on where you finish at the end of the race. That's no way guaranteed on God's green earth. So Makuris now making his way through the exit of Stavlor. Now he's got a real good opportunity in about just over 25 seconds. He'll cross the line, but will it be quicker than Kurtyakov Leva? Someone kicks up the dust, but oh, look at the commitment from Makuris there. Now into the bus stop chicane. Hopefully the car in front gets out of the way, and it does. Makuris, will he be close enough to beat Yakov Leva to pole position? He'll get another lap in. And hang on a second. Am I seeing things? Kurtyakov Leva has put in a 2 minutes 16.596 and has parked it in the pits. I think Makuris has called time on his session, has he? And he's P3. Alex Johnston takes second as the timer now counts down. That's it for qualifying in this session. And Kurtyakov Leva has taken pole position by nearly half a second at this particular moment in time. That's absolutely dynamite performance from the number 70 in that Mercedes-Benz. Samir Foch now coming out of the final corner. And now we'll come across the line. Goes P5. And a lot of drivers have put it into the pits. Sheldon Muscat was running as high as 8th in the session. He's currently in P14, but will the GT Omega RPM Esports driver have a clear shot at trying to get his way up towards the top 10? It's going to be a tall order, but these drivers do know what they're doing. A lot of drivers now deciding to pit. Norton's called time on it. I would think that Yannick Kruoff will probably have the same sort of thing happen as well. But now Sheldon Muscat making his way to the bus stop, having negotiated his way through Blanchimont. As it looks like that might be, I'm not too sure who that is in front. That might be Gergely Consabo, who's all the way down in 25th position at the minute. Muscat crosses line, goes P10 at the end of it all. So not a bad showing there for Sheldon Muscat. So Alex Johnston looking to get his opportunity to go up the order. Will he do anything in the last few moments? We're not too sure on that front. But he's going to try and do his level best. He's still in second position behind Kurtyakov Leva, as he now comes across the line. And Johnston takes second position. So what a result there for Kurtyakov Leva, the number 70 Mercedes, taking pole position by a considerable margin, by just over 4.5 tenths of a second ahead of Alex Johnston. Theo Makuris making his World Pro Racing debut will start on the inside of row number 2 alongside Germany's Calvin Heutzel. Jan-Niklas Ebrich and Samir Foch will line up on row number 3 of the grid here, ahead of Harrison Thomas and then Caligiuna as well. So a lot of drivers really trying to do their best. The top 20, rounded out by Pedro Gomez, were separated by about 2.3 seconds from start to finish. But we now have a 40-minute sprint race. There are no mandatory pit stops. We've got a 40-car grid here as well. And in many respects, people are wondering, where on earth did Kurt Yakovleva get that pace from? Well, I think it's possibly the sheer bravado and commitment in terms of using that Mercedes to its absolute peak of powers. And, from my perspective, it's more a case of times are for show, points are to go. And this is where it all comes down to it. Yakovleva might have pole position, but could he be there at the end of 40 minutes of this race? We won't know until we get going here at World Pro Racing. Once again, a big thank you to all our viewers on TVM Sport in Malta. Looks like we're going to be going to the grid very, very shortly. Motorsport.tv, esports television. If you are watching on the World Pro Racing YouTube channel, have you liked this video? Have you also subscribed? Have you also hit the notification bell? There's plenty of events coming up. There's more endurance races set to come here on World Pro Racing. And I think let's see if we can go trackside right now, because the drivers, I think, are getting themselves ready for the Nightmaster GT3 casual race here at Spa-Francorchamps. So, 40 minutes on the clock. They're going to start the quick formation. So Kurt Yakovleva will lead them from pole position, ahead of Alex Johnston, Theo Makuris and Calvin Heutzel. That's row 2. Jan-Niklas Ebrich and Samir Foch, that's row 3. Nathan Thomas and Kalle Juma, that is row 4, with Jimmy Holm from Finland and Sheldon Muscat from GT Omega RPM Esports. Rounding out the top 10. Ladies and gentlemen, they're about to go racing. 40 GT3 cars, that's over 20,000 horsepower here at Spa-Francorchamps. Are we ready? Are we steady? Well, without further ado, the Nightmaster race here at Spa-Francorchamps is green, 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 and Yakovleva gets an absolute flyer ahead of Alex Johnson as they filter their way into Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time of asking. But Johnson gets a really good run. Some cars going wide, going on to the inside of Radion, but Johnson already in the slipstream, pulling to the left-hand side of Yakovleva, going down the Kevil Straight. Will Johnson be able to power his way past the Mercedes going into Les Combes? It looks very much the case, as down a bit further back, it's 3 abreast for position, and Alex Johnson snatches the lead away on lap number 1 through Les Combes, going through past Kurt Yakovleva, and Samir Foch now closes on Calvin Heutzel as Makuris rounds out the top 3 thus far. Juma getting under fire from quite a few drivers, has already been passed by Jan-Niklas Ebrich. Nathan Thomas not too far behind. Jimmy Holm looks to have dropped down the order to P9. David Ohak now in P16 as he's battling away with the number 15 McLaren of Tom Ottey. And the Ferrari gets up the inside whilst Ottey runs wide, going through the left-hander, heading into Pouhon. And Ohak looking to make a move up the inside, but the McLaren stays ahead at the minute. If I'm completely honest there, Ottey got a bit of an advantage as Makuris now is battling away, and he's got round the outside there of Yakovleva. So the Brit from the PC Boys crew in the Aston Martin, number 74, Theo Makuris, really showing a good turn of pace as Calvin Heutzel looking towards the outside. Then the inside of Yakovleva. As into the barriers. Is that Calvin? Who is that? That is the 135. I believe that has dropped down the order. The 135 Aston Martin that has dropped down the order. But there was always going to be... That is Pedro Gomes that has actually ended up in the pit lane. So Pedro Gomes now, I think he's going to have that race is pretty much, I think, done and dusted for the Brazilian. That's a real shame for him. But you can just see how hard these drivers are chasing, how hard they are pushing here at Spa-Francorchamps as Tanel Kasisalu coming under fire from the number 19. That's the number 19 of Kirsten Abaya in the BMW M6 GT3. Yannick Huorf, a regular here on World Pro Racing, battling away with the 732 Lamborghini Huracan of Ryan Renoir, and they're being followed by Denis Suarez in the Audi. Then it's Tom Ottey a little bit further back, about 6/10 behind as we go on board with Yannick Huorf, who normally we see in a Porsche, but has switched to Ferrari power here at Spa-Francorchamps. As someone else has got off just off of the exit of Radion. And someone will be dropping down the timesheets as Wolf trying to go side by side, I believe, with Renoir going into Les Combes. Wolf will have the inside line. They look to have Ben Norton just up ahead, and Wolf gets past Renoir, makes the position up into P11. Yakovleva battling away with Calvin Heutzel. Oh, there's a tag! Oh, there's a tag, and Yakovleva goes into the barriers one way, coming out of Malmedy, and then gets pinball ricocheted onto the right-hand side, and Yakovleva has a very, very wounded Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3 Evo. After that, it looks like there was a little bit of rubbing between the pair, and Yakovleva turned up being worse off. As Josef Dobes, we have seen in quite a few different communities running in that Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo, one of the multiple drivers here from Good Time Racing. As Ryan Renoir battling away, that's Denis Suarez up his back bumper. And Suarez looking to go towards the outside. That's brave going into the approaching campus. But Renoir from Belgium, he'll know this track very, very well. It's home soil for him. So maybe Renoir might be able to make it up into the top 10. 36 minutes and 5 seconds still to go. As a drift wide there. And that was nearly an opportunity there for Renoir to get past Yannick Ruoff as Denis Suarez swarming all over the back bumper of the Lamborghini Huracan. Samir Foch in the number 8, who now is in P3 ahead of Calvin Heutzel. Heutzel now charging. Nat Thomas not too far behind them as they are now going into the bus stop chicane. Heutzel looking towards the outside of Foch. Thomas trying to dart up the inside of the German through the first apex and looking to power around the outside. That's a great move by Nathan Thomas. Absolutely centred up the inside of Calvin Heutzel there and took 4th position like it was child's play. Okay, our race director Adrian Figallo is now sending me some messages regarding some incidents that would have been designated by both him and also George Muscat. There are race director and race steward this evening, as always here. We do run to FIA standards on World Pro Racing as we go on board with Vishal Patel. Okay, Luca Ziga gets the drive-through penalty. Oh, Patel gets collected. Now, who was that? Was that Denis Suarez? Was that Denis Suarez that got a turnaround there? Now, I didn't quite see what happened, but Ziga has got a drive-through from race control. It looks like there is one mandatory pit stop here at Spa-Francorchamps, and it looks like that is possibly the number 70 there. That is Yakovleva. I think he's parked that car, or he's having damage now. So Ziga gets a drive-through for an unsafe rejoin. I think several drivers will be way down the order. Denis Suarez was the one that ended up being turned around and actually collected Vishal Patel, who unfortunately had nowhere to go, as Oscar Saristo gets past a very slow car up ahead and is being chased, I think, by one of the Bentleys. As that looks to be, I think, that is the number 70 of Kurt Yakovleva that has now exited the pits. So we've already had plenty of drama within the first 6 minutes or so. Nathan Thomas. Now Calvin Heutzel has dropped out of the top 10. Nathan Thomas has got Jan-Niklas Ebrich in the Lexus RCF GT3 closing down on him. Now, we do know that Jan-Niklas Ebrich has got a lot. He's got a lot of prowess. We've had it before, where he's won casual races. Ashton Cox in the Onyx Esports Aston Martin, as Vishal Patel is pitting. Suarez is in the pits. Pedro Gomez is in the pits. Kurt Yakovleva is in the pits. That's an interesting battle. It's Ferrari versus Ferrari. Samir Foch versus Khaled Juma. And they've got Jan-Niklas Ebrich and Ben Norton right behind. Well, that's Nathan Thomas and Jan-Niklas Ebrich right on their back bumper. This quartet is being covered, ladies and gentlemen, by 0.8 of a second. Don't tell me that's Nathan Thomas trying to go up the inside of Eau Rouge. He's trying to do a Weber on Alonso. As Juma spins it off of Radion and collects Thomas, and they all go spearing along. Juma's been sent into the barriers because someone else has also been in there. That's another Ferrari. I think that's Yannick Ruoff. More dramas there. And Radion can catch people out. So that's a real shame. Khaled Juma has now pitted. And we are into the first 7.5 minutes. There have been multiple incidents. The Nightmaster race has really put the cat amongst the pigeons here in the Ardennes Forest. But for the next 30 minutes or so, no rain to speak of, but the drivers are really getting caught out as Yazionas gets passed by De Bastiani going through Les Combes. That is for position, that's for 16th. I'm sure that Adrian Figallo and George Muscat will be having a very, very busy race, as there is the 159 Aston Martin in the pit lane. So 31 minutes and 44 seconds still on the clock to go here. I cannot believe how much carnage there has been. Alex Johnston at the moment in the 248 for Omega E Racing is leading the way. Theo Makuris, who started P3, now is in second position. Samir Foch, who started 6th, now up into 3rd place. Sheldon Muscat, in the meantime, stays in P10 at the moment, but Oscar Saristo, who I believe started way down the order, is now up into what is effectively 11th position in the number 9 Bentley. As you can now see by that picture-in-picture, the 159, that's Ashton Cox, that 159 Aston. That is one hell of a repair bill on the front. So that clamshell bonnet literally a good 3 inches out of alignment. Calvin Heutzel now battling away with Sheldon Muscat, and Muscat now closing on the 100. Calvin Heutzel started from P4, and he's not had the best luck in this, but in the meantime, Alex Johnston in the number 248 Aston Martin is being closed in on by Theo Makuris. So Makuris has just found 3/10 in that last lap alone, as some drivers coming into the pits. But now the gap has increased to 1.9, just under 2 seconds, as Heutzel lets the sparks fly from the rear diffuser of that Aston Martin as he scythes his way over the curbs into Les Combes. There's Alex Johnston. Now Theo Makuris is now also exiting Bruxelles. Now you can see that some drivers making their way out of the pit lane. Johnston still doing a good job at the moment. Makuris, as Calvin Heutzel has Sheldon Muscat breathing down his neck going through Bruxelles once again. So it's Germany v Malta in this particular exchange here, and it's Aston Martin. So Gaydon versus Affalterbach. So lovely on boards here. The rear windscreen cam on the back of Calvin Heutzel, and then we've got a track side shot, picture in picture. You can just see Sheldon Muscat never switches from the Mercedes. He's always, when I started in early November of 2020 with World Pro Racing, the first car that we saw with Sheldon Muscat in both GT3 and GT4 is always a Mercedes. And the picture-in-picture now shows a brief on board of Sheldon Muscat. So they're pushing over 250 kilometers an hour going through Blanchimont. Meanwhile, we head back to this little bit of a dice here, as Jimmy Holm is ahead of Reiner Hesse, Felix Zefs, and then we've got Herkut, followed by Josef Dobes. That's the battle for what is 16th position on the road. Now Felix Zefs had a bit of a run wide there, and that's going to allow, or was that Reiner Hesse? I'm not too sure, but it looks like everyone's closed up. That was Felix Zeff in the 2Cs Motorsport McLaren. I think having a little bit of an advantage there on Reiner Hesse, going through the exit of the bus stop, as David Ohak has now pitted. And you can just see that's Herkut in the 710 Lamborghini trying to go side by side with Reiner Hesse going through into Eau Rouge. Please just keep it clean, and there's a little bit of door rubbing, but they all get through, as that was an off-track excursion through Radion and a half from Josef Dobes in the 83 Good Time Racing Mercedes. Well, track limits are going to be a factor here, because on the Assetto Corsa Competizione software, you get 3 track limit cuts. Your 4th one is an instant drive-through penalty. So 27 minutes of this 40-minute race here. Still to go. Christopher Lagertsen doing actually pretty well and is up into 22nd position in the 911 Porsche. This will play to the Porsche strength in terms of good mid-speed and high-speed cornering. But obviously with the BOP and the new 2020 tyre model as all. Lagertsen runs wide, and that's into the approach into Pouhon. Jamsron trying to go up the inside in the Ferrari. Into the first left-hander. They're going to take that at 4th gear at about 170 clicks. And we've got Moura just behind. Hugo Moura from PKF, one of the other Portuguese drivers. As all, that's a run wide and a half there from Lagertsen. It's going to the right-hander in Campus. And Jamsanan makes the move. Moura on the back bumper of Lagertsen by about a car length and a half. Now as they make their way through into Stavelot before Coupe pour Frère. As Lagertsen runs wide coming out of Stavelot, that's going to allow Hugo Moura to get past in the Bentley, and does so as they now exit. Oh, they go into Blanchimont. Moura had the cojones to get that done as Lagertsen goes wide coming out of Blanchimont to keep the speed. I'm sorry, that's one hell of an off-track excursion. I thought it was bad enough with Joseph Dobes going through into Hadillon, but then Lagertsen coming out of Blanchimont. That was like he took an inch and then took a county mile, did that on a 24 911 Porsche. So you can just see how committed these drivers are as Moira goes up the inside of Jamsland. That was going through into La Source. Now they're going to power their way down. Let's keep on board with the number 21 Bentley. He's got close to the wall, but don't make this a Perez versus Ocon moment like a couple of years back. Oh, thank goodness for that. I nearly had my heart in my mouth there. But they both take a lot of took a lot of leeway on that curbing. But you can just see the pure grunt of that 4-litre V8 turbocharged Bentley engine as he got really into the toe of that 4-litre V8 turbocharged Ferrari engine. But it's Maranello versus Crew, and Maranello wins going into Le Con for the moment. But Moura from PKF in the Bentley trying to get past. Hopefully we'll use the heftier weight, I might say, of this Bentley Continental GT3 to try and close up on the Ferrari. We know that in a straight line the Ferrari does have a lot of pace, as does the Bentley. So we're just over 4¼ minutes away from the halfway point of this Nightmaster race here at Spa on World Pro Racing. As Moura takes, that was a little bit of a drift over to the right-hand side, going through the middle part of Pouhon. If you want to take part in any of the events here at World Pro Racing, you can head to our official website, worldproracing.com. If you want to find out about the events itself, there are still plenty of spaces for the 90 minutes at Donington Park, as we see the sparks fly from Alex Johnston's Aston Martin. And we have the 90 minutes of Donington Park this coming Saturday. We have the final round of the World Pro Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Season 2 Pro broadcast here, as Samir Foch goes running wide coming out of Radion, and that has allowed Nat Thomas and Jan-Niklas Ebrich to get past. We've also got the Rainmaster race coming up in a week's time at the Circuit de Catalunya Barcelona. All events will take place at... that was close between Thomas and Ebrich going through Les Combes, and Samir Foch not too far behind them. So this is a ding-dong battle for the final place on the podium, and Thomas is leading it at the moment. And what that means is an Aston Martin Vantage V8 GT3 lockout on the top three. And now you can see the mind games. You can see the mind games coming in. Ebrich knows how to pilot that Lexus around any circuit you plant him on, and he will close up. Believe you me, he will close up on Nathan Thomas. So plenty of spaces still to go for the Rainmaster, or as we would say in Germany, Regenmeister, Rainmaster race at Circuit de Catalunya Barcelona in just a week's time. So at the moment, Johnston leads from Mercouris by just 2.8 seconds. Nathan Thomas in third, Jan-Niklas Ebrich in fourth, Samir Foch in fifth as we go to Oscar Sarristo and Luca Ziga battling away. This is Aston Martin versus Ferrari, going through into the right-hander at Campus before the next right-hander at Stavlo. And good to see Oscar Sarristo going for old-school machinery. The original beast of the GT3 clan from Aston Martin. The V12 Vantage, not the V8, the V12. Oh, that V12 sounds absolutely phenomenal. And he's still keeping Luca Ziga at bay as we go on board with the German at the moment. Interesting how he's decided to use an Italian team name. But of course, still quite a few people cheering for Jan-Niklas Ebrich. As Nat Thomas being closed in on again by Ebrich. I know that the Jan-Niklas Ebrich Pan Posse is out there on the chat at the moment. Cornelius Jonas in the number 69 Tumbleweed racing car is having an absolutely ding-dong battle here with Heiner Hesse as someone trying to go around the outside and pull that move that Alonso got famously done when he was in Ferrari and Mark Webber was in Red Bull. And that could be Hocker, I believe. Hocker in the Lamborghini Huracan nearly did the Webber v Alonso move from a few years back and nearly pulled the move off in GT3 machinery. Okay, pit stop window is open.
You're halfway through, keep pushing.
And we're halfway through the race.
Pit window is now closed.
So the pit stop window showing is closed. So the drivers now have to really go for it. And you can just see that Yaz Yunus and Herkart. Oh, Herkart, did he get through? He did. Like a rat up a drain pipe. Did Herkart in the number 710 as Ziga gets pinged with that drive-through. And that really is as a result of the lap 1 unsafe rejoin that was spotted by Race Control. It looks like Race Control now also having some more words to say in my ear, reference what is happening. So I would imagine that they've probably been rather busy over the last 21 or so minutes with the amount of incidents as Luca Ziga now pits. And that will put him outside of the top 15 positions. So we have the likes of Casisalo, Felix Zeff, Josef Dobes, Rainer Hesse. You've got Herkart amongst them as well. So Ben Norton still keeping ahead of Belgium's Ryan Renoir. So, looks like we've had another driver pit. And that is Holm in the 777. Theo Mercouris, in the meantime, has dropped the gap to Adam Johnston to about 2 seconds. As Thomas now coming under fire once again from Jan-Niklas Ebrich. With with 17 and a half minutes still to go. And it's still very close between the two. They're covered by just under 2/10 as they're going through into Blanchimont. And there is Tassel Canesalu trying to close on Camille Di Bastiani. And it looks like Felix Zeff is not too far behind in the... Well, no, that's Joseph Dobes, I believe. So you've got Tanel Canesalu, Felix Zeff and Joseph Dobes. Yes, so the pit stops are coming in thick and fast. Right, okay. Joseph Dobes gets a 10-second time penalty for lap 3 incident for the number 14. And that was of Gleeson. That's Alex Gleeson that got a clash. So they're all starting to come into the pits. And the number 45 Bentley of PKF's Hugo Henriquez on the number 13 of Oaks. Henriquez gets a drive-through penalty as a result of that. So Ben Norton and Tom Ottey now lead the way, as does Sheldon Muscat. So there's the top 3. A lot of them have already pitted. So when they come out of the pits, they'll decide whether they put fuel in. Have they fueled heavy? Have they fueled light? They're going for a splash and dash. Are they putting new tyres on the car? Well, the thing is that Spa is very much a very abrasive circuit. And the reason for that is that the drivers now have that opportunity where they can really get a chance of trying to move forward and look to see how they can sort of take the advantage. So there have been some penalties issued by race controllers. Christopher Ligretson goes off track, exiting stage left, coming out of campus and into Stavelot. Nathan Thomas gets a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pits. Now, he was running in the top 6. He now, and also Joseph Dobes, has insult to injury, not just a 10-second time penalty. He gets a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pits. 2 drivers. It was only going to be a matter of time when you have a pit stop phase. You then find out who is going to have the first stop-go 30s of the race. Well, congratulations, Nathan Thomas and Joseph Dobes. They've got to come around and do another pit stop. That's a real shame for the pair of them. A real shame for the pair of them. That's put paid to their races. So now Norton, Ottey and Muscat are in the pits as well. Now, no one else has actually been pinged for a drive-through. But this is where things get rather interesting. 13 minutes and 50 seconds still to go. As Ryan Renoir now trying to... Oh, my goodness me. Renoir with his nous about this circuit, trying to go towards the inside of Bruno Vieira in the 333 Ferrari, going into Blanchimont. Vieira's back bumper looks a bit scuffed up to hell. As they now go into the braking zone, Renoir will send it up the inside in the Lamborghini. Nice and neatly done. Late on the brakes. Well, that was a pretty good... Oh, so I think the thing is that a lot of drivers now trying to get their late pit stop. So effectively, Henriquez has got a drive-through. That will put him outside of the top 10. You've then got the de facto top 3 at the moment, from my reckoning here, would be Alex Johnston, Theo Makuris, and Jan-Niklas Ebrich. Those are effectively the de facto top 3 coming into the last 12 3/4 minutes of this race. And we are now at 3:30 a.m. local server time here at Spa. So we started at 3 in the morning. So we'll be finishing just a few moments' time. On to lap number 12. And still, rain is not predicted at all. Felix Zeff has now been hit with a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. That'll keep him out of the top 15. As Hugo Henriques still out there. As the Bentley behind. Now, who on earth was that? Was Hugo Mora just behind Henriques? So Henriques now pits for his drive-through. Bruno Vieira still being chased by Sheldon Muscat. This is the battle for P8, well, which will effectively become the battle for P7. We're still deep into the night here at Spa. No one giving any quarter, no one giving an inch, no one taking a mile. Vieira and Muscat go... Well, that's not Muscat. That was somebody else. My apologies there, Sheldon. I know he's a bit further behind, but that is a McLaren. As Vieira pulls into the pits, there's Jimmy Holm in the homing missile number 777 Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo. He's got Nathan Thomas on his back bumper. Thomas reeling after a 30-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. There is Henriques. He's now going to drop outside. He's serving his drive-through penalty, which will be expunged by race control. Or is he actually... Yeah, he's going through the pit lane. That's very much a drive-through here at Spa is very, very long. So it's effectively the trundle of shame down the pit lane. Well, that rhymed, didn't it? Crikey. Been a good effort so far from Estonia's Tanel Kasisalu. He's got Yusuf Dobes just up ahead. But Dobes has still got a stop-go 30 to serve, I believe, as we head into the last 10 minutes. The last quarter of this race. And Alex Johnston still leading the way by 3.8 seconds ahead of Theo Makuris. Jan-Niklas Ebrich further 16.5 seconds behind the number 74 from PC Boys. Samir Foch rounds out the top 4. Ben Norton in 5th. Ryan Hunois, the Belgian, doing a sterling job in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo in 6th place. Sheldon Muscat in 7th. There's now Hugo Henriques now battling away. Oh, it's the V12 Vantage. Good old Oscar Saristo from Finland, being followed by Tom Otti as we go on board the Aston Martin V12 Vantage GT3. Oh, it's lovely to hear a V12 on this grid. Seriously lovely to hear a V12. You can just see how much Oscar Saristo is trying to just wrestle with that car and keep it in check. So let's... seems like Think Blue has gone absolutely crazy at the moment. Now they're going to go through as into Blanchimont. And that's Cornelius Yaziunas and David Ohak battling away. That's for 16th position. Yaziunas in the Aston Martin, Ohak in the Ferrari. Looks like there's Mercedes just up ahead. It's languishing away. No, it's the number 69 Aston Martin. That is still Yaziunas. There was a car, I think, that might have been just up ahead, but we've got 8.25 minutes still to go in this race. Yusuf Dobes yet to serve as stop-go 30 for speeding in the pits. Then we've got Hugo Henriques from Portugal now serving his pit stop. Saristo is now right up the chuff. Well, he's right at the back, but he's got past Tom Otti. So Matt, that must have happened a bit earlier on. Oscar Saristo past the 2Cs Motorsport car of Tom Otti. So Aston Martin, Gaydon has got the upper hand on Woking. That's Aston Martin v McLaren. Going into Les Combes, down the Kemmel Straight. Otti will have a bit of a good run going into Les Combes, but looks to outbrake himself a little bit going into the first part of the chicane as they go into the right-hander. Out of Licom, down into the right-hand hairpin here at Bruxelles. Johnson, in the meantime, has got a lead of 3.885 seconds over Mikuris. Ebrich still rounds out the top three. So Saristo started a long way down the order, now up into P8 of the V12 Advantage. Great job by the Finn. Normally on GT4, we tend to see him in the Alpine A110S GT4, and then decides to pick and choose what cars might suit the respective circuits. So good to see that Oscar Saristo got the opportunity to use that V12 Vantage. I love that car. One of the most successful cars in British GT history, the V12 Vantage, before the V8 took its place. And now it's a main staple in GT3 racing globally. Sheldon Muscat started down in P10, now in P7 with 6.25 minutes still to go. And all the while, I've just been noticing that Theo Mikuris is actually taking a little bit of time here and there out of Alex Johnston. Yes, there is a Porsche behind Sheldon Muscat. Or is that? I can't really tell. With the looks to be possibly an Aston McLaren. It's just behind a 750S. Just behind, not an Aston Martin. But yeah, Sheldon Muscat doing a really good job so far. Keeping it planted, the gap between Mikuris and Johnston has extended to 3.772 seconds. Just been looking at the gaps between Yannick Lesebrich, Samir Foch. So, just been informed by our broadcast team that there's a slight issue with the pit stop window time. That's still noting those who have and have not pitted. So the results will be official once the drivers have officially crossed the line, as there may be some disqualifications winging their way to drivers post-race. However, I did see that through a lot of the field, they were actually pitting, and some did have to serve drive-throughs. Oh, Ryan Renoir's got a track limit drive-through penalty with just under 5 minutes to go, so the Belgian will probably find himself outside. That's a drive-through. That's going to take that's going to take nigh on a minute, and that's going to put him outside of the top 10. It's a real shame for Ryan Renoir. He was battling away with so many great drivers, and on home soil, the one place you don't want to pick up a drive-through penalty is on your home track. So Semir Foch now coming under pressure from Ben Norton, as we go on board with the number 8 from Austria in the Feral Kid Racing Ferrari. Now gone through Blanchimont into the braking zone now from 6th to all the way down the gearbox down to first gear into the right hand part of the bus stop chicane and then into the left. As it looks like they've got a lap car just behind them. Renoir now comes in to serve that drive-through penalty. Oh, well, the word that I would not be saying to Ryan Renoir is definitely not. There's no Felicitation, or in the Flemish is Proficiat, which is basically congratulations. It's one of those sarcastic congratulations, because I don't think, it's a real shame on home soil to get a drive-through penalty. Yannick Lesebrich filtering his way up through Eau Rouge and then Radillon. Still P3, but the biggest battle I fear coming is Samir Foch and Ben Norton. That's for 4th place. Pair covered by just over 0.7 of a second as they head down the Kemmel Straight. Go on board with the number 8 inside the cockpit, as there is a Mercedes just up ahead, and you can see just in the not too far distance going through Malmedy and down the dip into Bruxelles is Yannick Lesebrich. Now this could help Samir Foch round about now as the back marker gets out of the way nice and cleanly there. Good spatial awareness. So the gap now between Foch and Ebrich is just over 1 3/4 seconds. It looks like Muscat now up into 6th place. Renoir, I believe, is leaving the pits and is currently now down in 9th and has exited out of the pit lane ahead of the leading Honda of Camille De Bastiani. No, actually, change that. So Johnston leads, Mikuris second, Ebrich third. Samir Foch, nearly 1.9 seconds away, is in fourth. Ben Norton, rounding out the top five, is just under 1.3 seconds away. Sheldon Muscat is in sixth position. Tom Otti in seventh. Oscar Saristo in eighth. Camille De Bastiani in ninth. Tanel Kasisalu from Estonia has catapulted all the way up in the 62 Aston Martin up to 10th position here at Spa. So Johnston now makes his way as we go on board with the number 248 from Omega E Racing. Alex Johnston managed to get ahead of Kurt Yakovleva, who was an early casualty here at Spa-Francorchamps. But the Omega E Racing 248 Aston Martin GT3 V8 powered. It's a 4-litre turbocharged V8 engine with a 6-speed paddle shift gearbox. And it looks to be that it's going to be an Aston. So Gaydon is going to have bragging rights here at Spa-Francorchamps in the Nightmaster race, courtesy of Alex Johnston and Theo Mikuris. Jan-Niklas Ebrich brings up the Japanese pride, courtesy of the Lexus RCF GT3, 5.4-litre naturally aspirated V8 engine with Samir Foch, and the 488 GT3 Evo, 4-litre turbocharged V8 in that prancing horse from Maranello's finest shores, or finest workshops, that is. So the time is ticking away. Now Johnston making his way through in towards campus and then into Stavelot. He's done a pretty good job keeping things under control. Got past Yakovleva on the very first lap without hesitating, got into the slipstream, knew that the aerodynamic toe would be his weapon of choice here at Spa. So we're on the 17th lap as the timer now officially hits 0 on the clock. And it looks like Alex Johnston flashing his lights. He takes the checkered flag. Theo Mikuris takes second. And Jan-Niklas Ebrich, the German wonder, in the Lexus. It's his tried and trusted favourite machine of all here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. He will round out the top 3 here at Spa-Francorchamps. Samir Foch takes 4th ahead of Ben Norton by just over a 10th of a second. 0.121 as the fireworks go off into the background. Sheldon Muscat will take 6th at the end of it all ahead of Tom Otti. But it is an Aston Martin 1-2. Look at that formation, courtesy of Alex Johnston and Theo Mikuris, both of who I know from the karting world, taking the spoils here at the Nightmaster race here at Spa-Francorchamps. So Sheldon Muscat has taken 6th ahead of Tom Otti with his best finish I think I've ever seen since I started commentating on him here at World Pro Racing in 7th. Oscar Saristo, Camille De Bastiani will take 8th and 9th respectively. And what a fantastic result here for Tanel Kasisalu. And Yakovleva, our pole sitter, would finish in a well-deserved 22nd, having started on pole. Ahead of Yera Kosinabaya, Felix Zeff. Tanel Kasisalu in the Aston Martin takes P10 ahead of Reina Reza. Then we've got Hockert. Ryan Renoir rounds out the top 13. David Ohak in 14th. Hugo Mora will be in 15th at the end of it, all ahead of Cornelius Yazionas. And we've got Jimmy Holm. So we're going to wait for a few people to come in, but that's it with Alex Johnston taking top honours here at the Nightmaster race at the iconic Ardennes Forest at Spa-Francorchamps. So firstly, a big thank you to all of the drivers that took part in this race this evening. Firstly, we're now going to go to our first interviews this evening. I have with me a multi-time casual race winner, of course, this man needs no introduction, and he's had a lot of supporters tonight. Guten Abend, Jan-Niklas Ebrich.
Guten
Third
Abend.
place.
Ja.
Erstens herzlichen Glück. Wir werden diese Interview auf Deutsch und dann ich werde etwas auf Englisch sagen.
English is okay.
Okay. You're stealing my thunder here, Jan-Niklas. but a very good race, very difficult race. Obviously, the Aston Martin's very, very, very quick around here at Spa, but still to start behind countryman Calvin Hoytzel to still take P3 was a very good result, nevertheless.
Yes, and yeah, it was a good result because there were some guys that were faster than me, but yeah, they hit themselves into the wall, so I got to profit a bit from that.
I think one of them was Kurt Yakovleva, who was on pole, and he literally, I don't know where he got that epic lap. I think no one could come close to it. I think Alex Johnson was about half a second away from it.
Yeah, this lap was so fast, so I can't imagine doing this lap times. Yeah, but in the race, had some problem because someone hit me in the first few laps, and I had a little spun and I had to drift a little bit. So I had a bit of damage and my tires were a bit destroyed. Yeah, because and I was. Yeah, that with the pit stop it was a bit weird because the bug, and yeah, but after that it was a nice race.
So you did a bit of Tokyo drifting in the Lexus then, upholding the Japanese honour.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on third place tonight, Jan-Niklas, and always a pleasure to talk to you here on World Pro Racing. Are there any sponsors you'd like to thank?
I don't have a team of sponsors, but I want to give a little shout out to my friends who are supporting me right now and watching. Yeah, it's nice to have such friends.
Indeed. Jan-Niklas, congratulations, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next casual race here on World Pro Racing.
Thank you.
Okay, we have also got our, he is officially our Spa-Francorchamps Nightmaster, Alex Johnston from Omega E Racing. Alex, you put up one hell of a fight in qualifying against Kurt Yakovleva, but obviously things went a bit more your way. You went full on attack in the slipstream going down Les Combes, and then obviously Yakovleva had an incident that really couldn't keep him in the running of things, but then Theo Makuris wasn't too far behind you at the checkered flag.
No, yeah, it was an interesting race. Like you said, in quali, well, about 2/3 of it we were just not having. We were having a terrible quali, and then we had about 2 laps to do a lap, and yeah, we pulled out the bag, put it on the front row. So yeah, in the race, we started. I knew I had to get a good start and get ideally in the lead, which is what I did, and just pull away. I know. We got a grid to about 40, 50 people, so there's a lot of people, and the main strategy was to pull away at the start, keep my pace to Theo, and yeah, come home with a bin.
Now, obviously, you're with a few good drivers. Obviously, Marcus Littlewood, who's a regular here on World Pro Racing. Omega E doing some really, really good work. Obviously, the team boss will be very happy, but also. In some respects, it's effectively a really good result for Great Britain because obviously you and Theo hail from these shores, and I know Theo and his dad Dino, so it was really good to see Theo actually get a good run and get an opportunity to race with us here at World Pro Racing, didn't you think?
No, yeah, I'm really proud of Theo. I'm good mates with him in the karting paddock in real life, and he's a great guy. We're about the same age, and I know his parents quite well. And it's his first race there with WPR, and he's done really well to come home in second. I don't think he hasn't done that much testing either, so I'm really proud of him.
Well, that just goes to show that driving anywhere, it's a bit like riding a bike, you never forget. And, with you guys from the karting world, being with someone who's actually from the karting world, me as a real-life commentator, it seems like the circle sort of, it's a bit smaller than we all thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to do the karting in this. Like you get into a scenario situation on the online stuff here, and you can relate to what you did in real life and what worked, and you do what you do in real life. You look back, you see what went well, what went wrong, and you take it into this. And it's the same for this. We'll go and look at the replay. We're watching tire race now. We'll see the mistakes we made, where we could have gone better, and we'll bring over to next race and real life.
Indeed. Well, Alex, congratulations for your victory tonight here. You are officially the World Pro Racing Night Master at Spa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, a big thank you to Jan-Niklas Ebrich and Alex Johnson for having the opportunity to talk to me here on a commentary. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. A big thank you to all our sponsors and partners, as always. Gaming Malta, Melita, who have powered this stream, Thrustmaster, GT Omega Racing, HyperX, where we're all gamers, and AMD. We'd like to extend a warm thank you to our viewers on Malta's TVM Sport channel, motorsport.tv, and esports television, and of course those watching on the World Pro Racing Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube feeds. So I'll not keep you a moment longer, but I just wanted to say this. Don't forget, the World Pro Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Sprint Series Season 2 finale is this coming Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Oh, hang on a second. I haven't spoken to this chap in a while. Let's bring him in. Theo Makuris.
Hello.
Theo, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Friend. Well, I had to make a mention about your vice championship status in the FIA Academy Trophy.
So thank you.
From me to you, mate. Congratulations. I know it was a tall order, but World Pro Racing debut. It's an Aston Martin 1-2, and you finish about 3.5 seconds behind Alex Johnston.
Yeah.
You must be mega made up after that.
Yeah, it was a good race. First ever race on this game, in fact. So jumping into it against all these people who've been on it for ages, not really knowing what the setups are like, because I know they make a big difference. So going into it fresh like this, it was a good result. It's a shame I couldn't get close to Alex at the beginning, but he drove really well. Well done to him. I've known him for a while. You know, he's a good driver, and it's nice to see him on the top step for once. So yeah, congratulations to him.
Obviously, racing in the night is something you don't usually do in the karting fraternity, yourself included. But what was it like actually just for the first time going in, race conditions, heading into Eau Rouge and Radion? I think there was a bit of a moment where you just like thinking, I just need to hang on here.
Yeah, at the beginning, because I hadn't done a start before, I didn't even know how to sort of line up, how to get ready. So I was sort of worrying about that. And then we got going. I got a bit of a slow start going into Eau Rouge. I went side by side for P3, slotted into P4, just going up the main straight, and went round I went round the outside to take P3 at the beginning, and then got P2 at the end of the lap. But by then, Alex had already disappeared. So it was a good first lap, and I think that's what helped me and Alex get away from the pack. So that certainly helped out as well.
Obviously, this is not going to be your last race. I know for a fact that you need to keep your skills sharp, whatever you're doing for 2021. Really a big thank you, mate, for joining us here, Theo. It's been a real pleasure having you as part of the grid, and hopefully we'll see you for a few more races here on World Pro Racing.
Thank you for running it really well as well.
Yeah, that's all down to the guys behind the scenes. So, Theo, thank you very much. Well done tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it from us here at World Pro Racing. Don't forget, we are going to the highlights very shortly, but above all, World Pro Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Sprint Series Season 2 finale on Friday night, and then the 90 minutes of Donington this coming Saturday. That's it from me, Alex Goldschmidt. Thank you for watching, and good night. We're now going to the highlights as well.
This stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You're risking not only your life, but also my life.
Wish your Wi-Fi network would just work in any room? Our new Stellar Wi-Fi is AI assisted to give you the smoothest, fastest possible Wi-Fi throughout your home. Stellar Wi-Fi, assisted by AI, exclusive to Melita. Find out more in-store or online.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.